As I stated the other day, we were supposed to launch the vlog on Monday, but because of everything that's going on in our country, a launch is supposed to be a celebration, and I could not consciously celebrate what's going on or what has happened. So um, we postponed the launch. We will launch soon. I'm not sure exactly soon, but as you know, there are a lot of things happening in our country that are a lot more important than launching a vlog. But it is important to speak our mind. It is important for us to educate each other and grow together. It is important for us to have conversation with one another, whether or not the other looks like us or not. We need to be having conversation. That is one of the biggest benefits of change. That's one of the biggest starting points of change is conversation, and conversation with people that don't look like you, getting to know people who don't look like you. If you know me, you know that I'm very proud of the community I'm from, which is North Highlands, California, Highlands High School. Very proud of it. And one of the reasons why I'm so proud is that you have people who don't look like each other, best friends from day one. One of my best friends in the world didn't look like me. Found out after we got to know each other, we were born less than 50 miles apart. I was born in Mobile, Alabama. He was born in Mississippi. So look, take a few minutes and get to know someone who doesn't know you, who doesn't look like you. Spend a little time and converse with people who maybe you're a little bit uncomfortable with. If they're open, then you've got something going on and you've got change. You've got change. Education. The Bible says, my people lack, my people, excuse me. The Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. Get to know each other. That's knowledge. Look, as I said, I wasn't going to do any more live, but again, I felt the need to do so today. So today again may not be a vlog as long as we have normally been going, which has been right around 30 minutes. It's maybe shorter than that today, but there are some things that I felt I needed to get off my chest and share with you. So we're going to take a few minutes and do that today. But before we get to that, we have to always get to, because it's still strong, it's still killing people. COVID-19 is still there. It's still killing people. We have got to continue the vigil about COVID-19. People are still dying from it. So just be vigilant and be, as I said, and I always say, and will continue to say, until we have a vaccine, please be safe rather than sorry when it comes to COVID-19. I was going to march today, but I saw something. Actually, one of the guys in my men's Bible study mentioned something last night, and then I saw it on the church's webpage. There is going to there's going to be, I guess you could say, a rally today, and I'm going to participate in that because it's supposed to be my church and all of the churches in the area in which I live. So I will participate in that. People have asked, what can I do? Well, you can do stuff like that. I'm glad to see that my church is taking a stand. I'm glad to see that my church is participating in what's going on. And that's One Community Church in Plano. I'm glad to see that my pastor is participating and having the church participate. So people are wondering what they can do. Everybody can't march. Everybody doesn't want to march, but you can do something. Do something. If what you do is communicate with someone who doesn't look like you, that's something. So do something. Be safe. I'm going to the rally, but I'm going to have my mask with me. I'll probably even have some gloves with me. I'm going to be safe. So I hope that you are too. Marching still going on. Protesting still going on. But guess what? The looting and the rioting have decreased. Something I really wanted to share with you that is so important. I've been saying all along that the majority of the people who are doing the rioting, the majority of the people who are doing the looting are not the protesters, are not the marchers. And that is becoming more and more aware, more clear to everyone that that's not the case. Police are arresting people who are from I think they call them right wing organizations. I'm not sure if that means hate groups, KKK, white supremacists, Nazis. I think that's what it means, and that's probably what it is. These groups have been, from what I've been told, infiltrating what I've seen on the news, infiltrating into with the protesters. And someone talked about there was a guy that they caught on camera who was breaking windows but wasn't going in to loot. Okay, encouraging those things to happen. I have heard people talk, and in their conversations, they talk as though the rioting and the looting is part of the protesting. It is not. You have to understand that. It is not. There are factions, there are people who want to make the protesters look bad. They want to marginalize, they want to criminalize the protesters. And these protesters, if you've been watching, are predominantly young people, but they are of all races and creeds and religions. Everyone has recognized the atrocities. Everyone is recognizing the systemic racism that has existed within police departments across the country, within our judicial system. Now, in saying that, don't try to take me wrong in saying that all cops are bad and all lawyers and judges are bad. I'm not saying that. But that's what some folks who will try to detract what I'm trying to do, that's what they'll try to do. They will try to flip the script and make it what it's not. What I am saying, what is real, is there is a system that exists within our police department, a system that exists within our entire judicial system that is flat out racist, that is ignorant. Okay, that's part of what happened to George Floyd. We have to change that. We can't allow that. And understand this. I have said from the very beginning that if you are a protester and a march, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility when you're marching, protesting, that if you see rioting getting ready to get started, if you see looting, you have a responsibility to call it out. You have a responsibility to tell those people no, because it's going to taint what you're doing. And in the same breath, if you are a police officer, if you are a sheriff's officer, if you are a lawyer, if you are a judge, you have a responsibility also. When you see people who are part of your system, if you're a police officer, if you see other police officers, if you're a lawyer or a judge, if you see it in the court system, you have a responsibility to do the same thing that the protesters have, and that is to call out people who are going to detract from what you're doing, to call out people who are going to make you look bad. So if you are a police officer and you see something, especially as I can't even talk about it. It gets me angry to think about it. Don't label me, though, as that angry black man. I am angry, but I understand the stipulations that come with that title of the angry black man. Every person who saw that video should be angry. Whether you're white, Latino, black, Asian, Native American, everyone should be angry. Every one of us. And that anger should translate into change. That's what all of us have a responsibility now. Every American, every human being has a responsibility to do whatever we can to ensure that change happens moving forward. To do what we can to prevent what happened to George Floyd from happening to another human being, from what happened to Ahmaud Arbery from happening to another human being, to prevent what happened to Reginald Denny from happening to another human being. Wrong comes in all colors, creeds, and religions. And those of us that are not going to accept it and know it's wrong, we have to call it out. And we have to do our part to ensure that it doesn't continue to happen. few other things I wanted to share with you, I wanted to say to you. Oh, by the way, I did hear this morning that the NBA is coming back. I believe what they're going to do is they're going to have all of the teams, all of the players in, I don't know if it'll be the same hotel, but staying in the same city, I know, I believe it's Orlando, Florida. And so they're supposed to come back. I want to say I heard July is when they're supposed to come back. Again, I hope that the NBA can come back and be safe, protect your players. If you're going to bring them back, you're responsible to protect them. If you are going to bring them back, you're responsible to protect them. And the same thing with baseball. The same thing with college and high school athletics. If you're going to allow your athletes to come back to your school or to your team, and there is not a vaccine, then you're saying that you know you are responsible to protect them, to make sure that um, there are policies and procedures enacted to protect them. And you will be held accountable if that doesn't happen. Whatever high school, whatever college, whatever professional sports team, you will be held accountable to ensure that the people that you're bringing back before there's a vaccine, that there is proper procedure um, and policy enacted to protect them. Nothing's 100%, I understand that, but you have to enact some type of policy that's going to protect these guys. I heard someone say the other day, their vote doesn't count. I'm going to get to that, but I'm going to stick with sports for a minute. Have you heard what happened with Drew Brees, who is the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints? Drew, I want to let you know, as you see, I'm a Raiders fan since I was 9 years old. As you see, I support my team not only by rooting for my team, not only attending games when I can, but also buying merchandise. I support my team. I actually supported you, Drew, and the Saints by cheering for you at times. I supported you, Drew, and the Saints by agreeing that you guys were cheated by the officials, which didn't allow you to make it to the Super Bowl. I don't support you in what you said. Doesn't mean I can't support you again, understand that. But I don't support you in what you said. And I definitely don't agree with what you said or the sentiments of what you said. And the fact that you still today do not understand what the kneeling of Kaepernick was all about is discouraging. But what it let me know is there are a lot of Americans who don't understand what the kneeling of Colin Kaepernick and other players who joined him. There are a lot of Americans that don't understand what that was about. And if you're an African American and you do understand it, you have a responsibility whenever possible to clarify it and help people to understand it. What Cap was doing was kneeling in protest, basically to police brutality. What Cap was doing was kneeling in protest and bringing attention to what happened to George Floyd. That's what the kneeling was all about. What happened to Ahmaud Arbery. That's what the kneeling was all about. What has happened to hundreds, literally thousands of other African Americans, Latin Americans, Asian Americans, gay Americans, Native American Americans. That's what the kneeling was all about, folks. To bring attention to it and say what people are saying in these marches, not only in this great country that we live in right now, but all across the world, that is wrong. And we are not going to continue to accept it or allow it. That's what Cap was doing, Drew. That's what that was all about, Drew. It wasn't about the American flag. I heard what you said, that your father and your grandfather fought for this country, for that flag. Let me tell you something, Drew. My grandfather fought for that flag too. My grandfather forged his age to fight for you to be able to have the right to speak like you did. My grandfather risked his life. My father risked his life. And three of my brothers risked their life for you to have the freedom to speak as you did. And yet you want to criticize a man who your father and your grandfather and probably many other uncles and whatnot, they fought for Colin Kaepernick to have the right to express himself. And that's all he did. It had nothing to do with the flag. It was not against the flag. Look, I'm gonna share something else with you. The man who wrote our national anthem, if you have not heard, was a racist slave owner. And that's why I do not no longer stand for the national anthem, but I stand for the flag. I put my hand over my heart for the flag, which my ancestors, my brothers, my father, my grandfather risked their lives for the flag, Drew. All African Americans stand for the flag. All African Americans respect the flag. Why can't you respect their right to not accept racism within our judicial system, within our police department? I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it ever since I've been doing this vlog. All police officers are not bad. The majority of police officers are not bad. I have had some negative, I guess you would, I'm not even call it a run-in, because when I hear run-in, it's equal on each side as far as the run-in. What happens when African Americans are oftentimes stopped by police, it's not equal at all. And we have a right, just as you do, to express ourselves. Respect that, and you respect the flag. I had a lot more I was going to say to Drew, but I'll save that for the next vlog. I want to talk right now to predominantly to our young folks, but to every American. I mentioned earlier about voting. I heard people say, I don't vote nationally. I don't vote for president. I just vote locally. And they said the reason was because they felt their vote doesn't matter. To everyone who thinks their vote doesn't matter, let me tell you this. The only time your vote does not matter is when you don't vote. I'll say it again. The only time your vote does not matter is when you don't vote. Look, there are people who believe that we still need the electoral college. I'm not one of them. When you don't vote, you empower those people. When you don't vote, you do take a power away from the American public, from our ability to vote, because you empower people who want to continue to believe in electoral college. And it is the electoral college, which voted in the current president that we have. You see, the populace did not vote for him, but it was the electoral college that put him in the office that he holds now. And when you don't vote, you empower those people. That's what you do. I do have so much more that I want to say, but I'm not going to say it all. I'm going to save it for another time. But your vote does matter. When you don't vote, you empower the police officers who are not just. When you don't vote, you empower everyone in our judicial system who is not just. You empower them. Your vote matters. You have to vote. What we have to do also, if our police officers individually are not going to call out the bad officers, we have to empower some sort of police oversight board. We have to empower them. When you have an officer, look, I'll give you an example of systemic racism within our judicial system, within our police department. The coroner in Minneapolis did not state that the death of George Floyd was due to what that police officer did to him. He tried to relate it to other illnesses that Mr. Floyd had, but two other coroners came along and said it was murder, said it was due to what that police officer did to him. The coroner basically, in my opinion, was trying to cover up and protect that police officer. So in my opinion, that coroner needs to go. I don't know if he's voted in or appointed. Whichever one it is, if he's voted in, he needs to be voted out. If he's appointed, he needs to be just flat out fired. So Drew, I'm going to finish and come back to you with this. The fact that you apologize does not excuse what you said. The fact that you apologize does not make everything okay with you right now. For me, I'm not going to speak for anybody else but me right now. What will make it okay with me, Drew, is if you took a few minutes and sat down with teammates that don't look like you and get a better understanding of not only what Kaepernick was doing, but what's going on across this great country right now. If you get a better understanding of that, Drew, then you'll be all right with me. And just because what you said was wrong, I'm not going to totally count out your saints. But please, everyone, take a few minutes, take some time, and get to know someone who doesn't look like you. Now, in saying this, I'm not counting out my black brothers and sisters either. We have a responsibility too. We have a responsibility to ensure that there is effective change that takes place starting right now. Starting right now. That means voting. That means standing up. That means communicating. You have to do the same thing that I'm encouraging my white brothers and sisters and my Latino and Asian brothers and sisters and my Native American brothers and sisters. My black brothers and sisters, you have the same responsibility. Take a few minutes and get to know somebody who doesn't look like you. Have a conversation. I've been a part of that. I told y'all before, I moved into a community that did not look like me. I came out of the community where everybody looks like me. I think I said this yesterday, I'm going to say it again. I was partially raised in a community where the only time I saw white people was on TV. And then I moved to a community where I was the only person who looked like me in my class. So I didn't have any choice but to talk to people and get to know people who did not look like me. And I think that was one of the greatest benefits of my move, of our move, and of my life. I really got to know people who didn't look like me, and I got to know for myself that people who don't look like me, they're just like people who look like me. There's some good, but there are some bad, but most are good. I hope that we can all take a stand and get to know someone who doesn't look like us. I got more to come, but we'll do that tomorrow. Until then, I'm not going to say just make it happen. I'm going to say, you know what I got to say. Comment, like, subscribe. Comment, make a comment. Like, and please subscribe to IET with Mike C. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I ask God to continue to bless you and yours, all of the protesters, all of the police officers, all the judges and lawyers, everyone who wants to do good. I pray that God bless you in a mighty way. So until tomorrow, you know what to do. Make it happen. And that has never been so vital as it is right now. Do something. Make it happen. I'm out.